Hi, and welcome to my podcast about the US government. I will talk about the different government branches and how an idea becomes a law. Now I will talk about how an idea becomes a law. Step number one: the bill is drafted. Any member of Congress, either from the Senate or the House or Representatives, who has an idea for a law can draft a bill. These ideas come from the Congress members themselves or from everyday citizens and advocacy groups. The primary Congress member supporting the bill is called a sponsor. The other members who support the bill are called co sponsors. Step number two: the bill is introduced. Once the bill is drafted, it must be introduced. If a representative is the sponsor, the bill is introduced in the House. If a senator is the sponsor, the bill is introduced in the Senate. Once a bill is introduced, it can be found on congress.government, gov, which is the official government website that tracks federal legislation. Step number three: the bill goes to committee. As soon as a bill is introduced, it is referred to a committee. Both the House and Senate have various committees composed of groups of Congress members who are particularly interested in different topics such as health or international affairs. When a bill is in the hand of the committee, it is carefully examined and its changes of passage by the entire Congress are determined. The committee may even choose to hold hearings to better understand the implications of the bill. Hearings allowed the views of the executive branch, experts, other public officials, and supporters and opponents of the legislation to be put on the record. If the committee does not act on a bill, the bill is considered to be dead. Subcommittee review of the bill. Step 4: Subcommittee review of the bill. Subcommittees are organized under committees and have further specialization on a certain topic. Often, committees refer bills to a subcommittee for study and their own hearings. The subcommittee may make changes to the bill and must vote to refer a bill back to the full committee. Step number 5: committee markup of the bill. When the hearings and subcommittees review are completed, the committee will meet to mark up the bill. They make changes and amendments prior to recommending the bill to the floor. If a committee votes to not report legislation in the full chamber of Congress, the bill dies. If the committee votes in favor of the bill, it is reported to the floor. The procedure is called ordering a bill reported. Step number 6: voting by the full chamber on the bill. Once the bill reaches the floor, there is additional debate and members of the full chamber vote approve any amendments. The bill is then passed or defeated by the members voting. When the House or Senate passes a bill, it is referred to the other chamber, where it usually flows the same route through committees and finally to the floor. This chamber may approve the bill as received, reject it, ignore it, or change it. Congress may form a conference committee to resolve or reconcile the differences between the House and Senate versions of a bill. If the conference committee is unable to reach an agreement, the bill dies. If an agreement is reached, the committee members prepare a conference report with the recommendations for the final bill. Both the House and Senate must vote to approve the conference report. Step number 8: the bill goes to the President. After both the House and Senate have approved a bill in identical form, the bill is sent to the President. If the President approves of the legislation, it is signed and becomes a law. If the President takes no action for 10 days while the Congress is still in session, the bill automatically becomes law. If the President opposes the bill, they may veto the bill in addition. If no action is taken for 10 days, the Congress has already adjourned. There is a pocket veto. Step number 9: overriding a veto. If the President vetoes a bill, Congress may attempt to override the veto. If both the Senate and the House passes the bill by a two-thirds majority, the President's veto is overruled, and the bill becomes a law. And that's how an idea becomes a law. Number 1: the Judiciary Branch. To decide if a suspect is guilty or not, they will convince the suspect that they already have full proof of the fact that the suspect is responsible for the offense, and that they only want to know why they did it. This is a very effective way of getting someone to confess. However, this method has some downsides. The officers will talk to the suspects for hours and hours, and they will try to convince the suspect that they are their only hope in getting a fair sentence. And then, afraid of getting locked away for a long time, they might confess to committing the crime even though they didn't actually do it. On some occasions, a suspect has confessed and has been put away in jail for a long time, only to be released later when they have been proven innocent. And their way of saying sorry for making a person lose the best part of their life? Well, they give them some money and say, off you go. Well, to be fair, it is a lot of money usually. And just like that, you've lost 30 years of your life. So, in conclusion, I would say this is an extremely effective way of getting someone to confess. Arguably, a little too effective. Number two, the executive branch. To enforce laws, the US government starts an investigation of sorts to find out who is responsible. They also make public arrest on people they aren't even sure have committed the crime. They arrest all suspects and then question them. If they find out that someone is innocent, they will release them. Although USA is not on top of the list of countries that are best at enforcing laws, they are certainly not too bad at it. Number three, the legislative branch. The legislative branch is very well known and respected in the US because all the way through childhood in school they are taught to abide the law, causing most Americans to live by the law, which is good because then there becomes order and fewer accidents than if nobody followed the law, which would cause craziness and a lot of accidents. Here's a quote by Danish scholar Helle Porsdam. Americans practically live and breathe in legal terms, which shows that from his perspective, he really believes that most Americans live by the law. And that's the end of my podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it and found it entertaining. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I really hope you enjoyed.